My name is Muriel Smith. I live in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, in the United States. 4 years ago, for 47 days, I had breast cancer. I then had cryoablation, and I haven't had a single problem since then. And it'll be 5 years this February 2nd. I first found out I had cancer in December of 2015, the end of 2015. I went in for a routine mammography, and they discovered a tumor. They then asked me whether I would they told me that I had to get a biopsy of it. And then they called me up and told me that I had cancer. And would I please come in and talk to the doctor about it, the oncologist about it. The oncologist, who was Dr. Martucci, wonderful, wonderful woman. She did drawings of my breast and showed me where the tumor was and explained everything about the tumor. And then she explained everything that she could do, which was basically a lumpectomy. I would get anesthetized. I'd be in the hospital overnight. I could go home the next day. I'd have to go back for checkups, and I'd have to get radiation and chemo. And after she told me her side of it, she said, "This is Dr. Tomkovich, and he's a radiologist, and let him tell you what he can do." So then Dr. Tomkovich explained that he was going to insert a needle, that the needle had frozen stuff in it, nitrogen of some kind in it, that he would insert the needle right into the tumor, and it would freeze the tumor and kill it, and then the tumor itself the tissue would die off and just slough off out of my body like any dead tissue sloughs off out of your body. And he said it would take about 45 minutes to do the procedure. I would not be anesthetized, and I could go home and do whatever I wanted afterwards. They said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And, go home and think about it. And I said, no, I know what I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to have the cryoablation. It was a new word to me. I'm definitely going to have that. And both doctors said to me, "No, go home and think about it." I said, "All right, if it'll make you happy, I'll go home and think about it." But I knew my mind was made up. And then they scheduled it for February 2nd. So it was 47 days from the day I was told that I had cancer until the day the cancer was gone. Life doesn't get any better than that. So the same series of rooms where I had the mammography and where I had the ultrasound was also where I had the cryoablation. So I didn't even take my shoes off for it. I wasn't going to be there that long. So I just took off my blouse, and they gave me a top to put on. And then I went in and I laid down on the table. And Dr. Tomkovich was there. There was a TV there. So he explained to me, he was very good at explaining everything. I like to know what's going on, and I like to see what's going on. And I had asked him if I could please watch while he was doing this, because I didn't want to miss anything. And so I could see the same TV screen that he was looking at. And he showed me the needle, and he explained that he was going to insert it into my breast. And I could see that on the screen. Mm-hmm. I could see him inserting it. And he talked his way all the way through it, whether he was telling it for all these other people in the room, for me, or whatever, but I was listening. And it was really magical, because on the screen, I could see this little square of ice forming. I could see the tumor itself, and I could see the needle going in, and then this little square of ice forming around it. It was just magical. He had, swabbed my breast, so I didn't even feel the needle going in. Mm-hmm. So there was no feeling for anything. I was just watching. He explained that he was going to have it freezing for 7 minutes, and then he was going to stop for 7 or 9 minutes to make sure that it took, and then he was going to go back in for another 7 minutes after that, and that would be the end of it. He did a suture, did a little stitch, and then put a Band-Aid over it, and told me that I could leave the bandage on for a couple days. He said I might have a bruise, I might get black and blue, But if I had any other symptoms of anything, or if I had anything different, then I was to call him right away. And that was the extent of it. It took about 45 minutes from the time I got in until everybody settled down and talked and everything like that, until the time I left. And then I got up, I went out to my car, and I kept a noontime appointment I had for lunch with a friend of mine. And then that afternoon was, I had another meeting at 3:00 that afternoon, and I went to that meeting too. It was like I had nothing at all, if you really must know the truth. I had the procedure done. I had a bandage put over it. I went out and I kept my luncheon appointment. I kept my meeting. I had no pain, no problems, no nothing. Once I took the Band-Aid off, I did have a little, I did get black and blue. And then but there was no pain or anything like that. I then had a little prick mark on the side of my breast, which probably lasted 6 or 8 months. It did last a long time, that little prick mark. That's the only, today, that's the only, I don't even have that anymore. I would not know. There's no change in the size of my breast. There's no change in the shape of my breast. There's no change in anything in me, except I don't have cancer. And I didn't have cancer long enough to even be worried about it. I did have to go back to Dr. Tomkovich 4 months after the procedure, because he wanted to make sure that the cells had really died and were really sloughing off or getting out of my body, whatever it was. And I had to have another mammography 4 months later. And then my regular mammographies were in November. And so in November, I had both breasts mammoed. And then after that, I've just gone for mammography once a year. And that's it. I did not have any chemo. I did not have any radiation. There was no need for it. I wouldn't have had it if there was a need for it, but there was no need for it. I do take an anastrozole, which is a little pill that I don't know what is supposed to be, but the oncologist asked me if I would take it. I don't have any side effects or anything from it, and so it doesn't bother me to take it. And so I do take that pill once a day. So yes, I absolutely recommend cryoablation anytime that it's possible for every woman in the world. I absolutely do. I absolutely have. I have it on my Facebook page. And I've had a lot of calls from people. This was, I guess it's still in the trial stage in the United States, but I'm not sure of that. But I know that at the time that I did it, you had to be 65 years old to have it done. I was 79. I'm 83 right now. And so I fit the criteria to be a subject for the trial. I would have every woman do it. I don't know why for the trial. I guess for reasons that I don't have to know. You had to be 65 for it. I feel bad for women who didn't have it and went through surgery. I have several friends who were going through surgery or lumpectomies at the same time that I was having my fun and not having any pain.